Welcome to Clever Title Pending with your host, Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance hybrid author, award-winning playwright, and former mortician's assistant. Don't send him title recommendations because Brian knows exactly what he's doing. So just sit down and look pretty as Brian K. Morris scrolls through your comments and plays with his mouse. Join him on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, for Evening Pandemonium and Moonlight Madness.
Hi there, everyone. How the heck are you? This is Brian K. Morris on Rising Tide Publications, and welcome to Clever Title Pending, where we talk about creativity and the business behind it. And we've got some cool people on tonight. No real topic tonight other than creativity and how we're coping with things right now. But in advance, I'm going to apologize because we were supposed to have Rick Bradley on. He may show up, he may not. He's having some personal kerfluffles right now. And Eric Hawkins' internet went out on him. He has offended the internet gods, and so now he pays the price. But anyway, and we've got some really cool people here, and we've got the one and the only Christian Basel. We'd know him anywhere because he's going to exterminate us. How are you?
I came here for the chicks. I was told chicks would be here. Where are the chicks?
Well, do just hold on. We'll get you one at least. Anyway, we also have the one, the only Karl Witsman. Karl, how you doing tonight?
Hello, doing fine.
All right, good to hear. And speaking of chicks, here she is, the giantess, the one we know, the one we love, the one, the only Meredith Loughran. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
I have no hands. What exactly am I supposed to hold?
Meredith, you take this one.
I'm just here for, like the butt beard and the spine licking. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Mr. Dalek, you do have one suction cup.
That's for later. I heard Sarah was in the chat.
Oh boy.
Yes, yeah. And let's go back there, and we will be taking your comments. And if you have any questions for these wonderful people about creativity and anything having to do with being creative, because you've got writers here, you've got Christian, who is an amazing broadcaster, and Mr. Dalek, tell everyone about the great big milestone that you just crossed on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS page here on Facebook.
I love how you paused on the great big. It was a cliffhanger.
I have a suction cup. Okay. Hi. Oh yeah. Wow. Okay. Welcome.
Milestones. I told you so.
I want to give a thank you to everybody. First of all, I want to give a thank you to everybody in this room right now for all your support, especially Meredith. We crossed the 36,000 threshold. So we're just making up the words as we go along. We crossed the 36,000 threshold. Yeah, put that in your next
threshold.
That's going to be the next for the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. So we are just, people are just pouring in, and it's all thanks to people like Brian, like Meredith, like Karl, everybody supporting us, like Sarah, everybody who joins us and just geeks out with us. I've just got finished doing an episode for HarleyCon, so if you don't mind me plugging that, that's going to be taking place August 15th. Just go to HarleyCon 2020 and just subscribe there, and you will see us. We're performing at 1:30 p.m. the Traveling TARDIS Eastern Standard Time during the live convention. So there it is.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we let everybody briefly introduce themselves, because this is something I sometimes forget to do. And I think we'll, Christian, why don't you tell everybody about the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS? Oh, if I hit the right button, Christian.
He saw me grabbing for it.
Yeah, I panicked. And when he said he was grabbing for it.
Oh, wow.
They squish your head.
I can tell what religion he is now. Anyway, Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. It was just a thing that I started 8 years ago as I wouldn't say a goof, but it was just a fun little hobby. I actually purchased a TARDIS. The whole idea was to take it places where the Doctor hadn't gone, and I was taking it places like Home Depot, Publix, just really some odd places when it started out. Then took it to Disney, Epcot, Universal Studios. Then next thing I know, a friend of mine, Carlene, thank you so much. Yeah, and then a friend of mine named Ken Spivey at the time, he was running the first, what I would consider one of the first Doctor Who conventions in the area called Time Lord Fest. And he, for some odd reason, thought I could speak on a panel. And that was my very first panel. It was here in Orlando in a hookah bar. They literally took a hookah bar, made it into a convention place, and put some tents up for the vendors. And that was the first Time Lord Fest. And ever since then, I've been hopping around panels and podcasts and radio shows. And now... what was it, 27? It was back in October, I think it was October 2018. We started the day before Jodie Whittaker premiered with our radio show. And now we're on iHeartRadio, CBSradio.com. We're up to our 80 some odd episode. And we've been just trucking like a horse. We've had people like Jason Connery, Annette Badland, Nick Briggs, Katie Manning, Sophie Aldred. I mean, we've just had a plethora. It's just been a fun ride, and it hasn't stopped. It has not stopped. So, get me off the screen, for crying out loud. I can only talk for.
I was going to keep going as long as you could, but somebody who let's throw it to Meredith. No, let's quickly get to Meredith Loughran. For the love of God, Meredith.
Oh,
all right, you guys.
Okay, Karl. Tell everybody how awesome you are.
I am Meredith Loughran, and I am buttbeard. I am nowhere near awesome. I just put my head down and I work. But you guys, I've got so many hats on that my husband said I should get business cards that say etc., etc., etc. because I am one of the assistant editors on Geek Insider, but I'm also the executive producer of the Geek Insider podcasts, which includes Geek Speak. We had some really cool interviews, and we have more coming up this coming week. I'm also doing Wild One Forever, which is a women-centric site, but it is not a women-exclusive site. So I always try and tell the guys, if you want some insight into the women's psyche, go visit Wild One Forever. And there is a really cool watch that is, it's got like a $200 value from Nordgreen. And if you sign up for the newsletter on wildoneforever.com, you can be entered in it. All you have to do is sign up for the newsletter. Also part of the Terraform Comics publishing group. We just put out our first newsletter, and if Brian will allow me, I will share that link to the newsletter in case you missed it. On top of that, I have my own stuff. So again, it's like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can sit here all day and talk about all the stuff that I do, but I don't like doing that. I like talking to other people and hearing their stories. Back to you, Brian.
How about back to Karl Witsman? And Karl, tell everybody about how amazing you are.
Well,
that's it. Good. Thank you, Karl.
Really.
Don't proud tonight, Karl.
I was just so fixated on the peek into the female psyche that Meredith was going to give, but that scared me, so I backed off.
And this is why Karl is awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I know when to back off. No, I was a counselor for many years, and after that was into information technology, helping people with their computers. After retiring from that, I finally got a chance to do writing more full-time. Not full-time, but more full-time. And I decided that I wanted to be a comedian at one point in the future. And so that's how I started the Uncle Karl's Secret Humor Group, which is no secret. But it was at work. And so I just carried that title over. We are up to 202 members now for a group that are very carefully handpicked reprobates of the worst sort.
202. That's not a secret anymore. Dude.
No, that's not a secret. but a bigger hive of scum and villainy you will not find.
Well said. Well said. Well, I know somebody's going to complain if I don't. You are done, right, Carl?
I'm done.
Okay. I just want to make sure because everybody.
Don't let me go all night.
I wish you would.
Don't let me go all night. I've had some whiskey, so
That's what she said.
That's what you said.
Oh, iHeartRadio, you're in for a treat when this drops. Anyway, I'm Brian.
We're not thrown off the radio. All of our shows are
That
gone.
could be. Yeah, and
Thanks,
Meredith
Brian.
saying no, not with my name attached to it. It's not. But anyway, I'm the alleged host of this show. I'm a writer, publisher, former mortician's assistant, and I do a lot of writing for comic books, other publishers, but mostly for Rising Tide Publications. I also have risingtide.pub where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter and Rising Tide Publications page on Facebook. Plus, if you're watching me and this wonderful crew here, who I am very grateful for showing up because I had neglected to get a guest for tonight's show and these wonderful people volunteered. So anyway. Saps. Anyway, let's see, where was I going?
You'll
It's
get
hell
my
to grow
bill
old.
eventually.
Okay, it's hell to grow old. I tell
what
you.
did I come in this room for?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Why am I standing here by the toilet? But anyway, no. I do a lot of work.
That's
for
not a
other people.
toilet.
Better than the closet.
It's talking back again. Anyway, no, we also have a YouTube channel with 110 happy people on it. Maybe a couple of people a little disgruntled, but what the hell. But anyway, please like and subscribe. And also, I'm claiming we are proud to be powered and sponsored by GeekInsider.com. Meredith's going, what? You're saying what? We're associated with this? No. Also, Rising Tide Publications, them I can talk about. And thank you to everyone watching us on YouTube and on Facebook, as well as IndieVent and Rising Tide Publications page. And if you're watching us live on the reruns, we hope you like what you see. And let's get everybody back in here. We're going to read some comments, and we'll let everyone...
Why would you do that?
Well, we're going to start with Sarah. Sarah, that's why we're going to do it.
It never goes well.
Yeah, I know. Good
And
evening.
this is I'm doing this for Brian. There's Brian's YouTube right there. Is that the YouTube? I just pulled that up and I don't
want to hear what you pulled up. Anyway,
Brian's YouTube channel. There is no reason why Brian shouldn't be up to like 150, 200 by now. Seriously.
Oh, thank you. And we are going to be doing some original work. In fact, I've been writing on some of it this week. And Meredith, please talk about Terraform, because I think you guys are going to change the landscape of comic books, and you can use that line if you want. I seem to have heard that somewhere.
Changing the landscape of comics, yes. But you continue. I think you had a thing going on there.
Yeah, and Sarah is wondering how many comments we can get on here before the show even starts. It doesn't matter. We'll be behind anyway. And Carleen, glad you're here. In fact, Clyde Hall, Rochelle Lester, Maria Gonzalez, Teal Shively, Eric Hawkins, who would have been here, and Clayton Merwin. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. And here's somebody I'm really fond of, Meredith Loughran. Hi, gang. Do I sneak in with live stream or hang out with you? Well,
that's my evil twin. Totally ignore her.
Don't listen. She's the evil twin. Anyway, starting soon.
Are you just dissing yourself on a live feed?
Me, myself, and I, the three of us have issues, okay?
Okay,
yeah.
I'm liking Sarah's profile picture on her YouTube way too much.
I know, she's sexy. Sexy, baby.
And I've seen her in person. The camera does not do her justice. So there.
Yeah, what did the restraining order say?
I just ignore it. Otherwise, my eyes aren't good enough to get a good view of her. Anyway, once you set a reminder for the show, too late, I'm already here. Well, we're glad you are. And although we all know where the cool kids are, they are surrounding me right now.
They're on YouTube.
That's right. YouTube, where the picture is better and so is the sound. And also, although it can only do so much with me. And Teresa Dunn, good morning, or excuse me, good morning. She's usually on Nevermind the Furthermore, and I don't know what time it is. I am really discombobbled tonight. Mwah, glad to see you, Teresa. And show, we don't need no stinking show. We got us. Well, I guess we get to watch these guys do stuff. This will be great. And we are on show. We're just waiting for Brian to get his booty on here.
That's what we're going to do. We're just going to run through the chats.
Yeah.
We're just going to interact.
Yeah.
The show's just going to be full of chats. That's all it is.
Oh, why not? Well, what would you like to talk about, Christian?
God, you put me under the pressure. Thanks a lot, pal.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Okay, I'll throw out the first question. Yeah. Right now, and this is kind of an ongoing thing, with the My Sharona, Miley Cyrus, Peter pandemic, you get points if you can say that correctly. I frequently lose. But anyway, I know that we've all been wanting to go to conventions.
Yeah.
At this point, and given that, like Carl's in Illinois, I'm in Indiana, and I believe Christian and Meredith are in Florida. I know Meredith is, because I've mailed her my package, and so I know this stuff. But anyway,
we do love those packages.
Oh, she does, and don't be jealous, Christian. But anyway,
FedEx walked up. We got a small package for you.
no, I had to use both hands to get it up here. No,
Tiny.
how it's bigger on the inside.
There you go. There you go.
No, but some conventions are happening, some are not. If one was to happen, say by the end of the month in your area, how likely would you be to go? And if so, what kind of precautions would you take? Who wants to start?
I would totally go. I would totally
first.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and the precautions that I would have would be to bring my face mask. I don't really like touching doorknobs and stuff at public places anyway. I usually enter with my elbows and stuff, and social distancing, and there would be exceptions. I would totally give Christian and Brian and Karl in here. I would totally give you guys Corona with a big hug.
Ooh.
I would do it. I would risk it.
Oh man, that's the best offer I've had all day. And Karl rubs his hands in an anticipatory glee.
Yeah, no, I would definitely go to a convention if it were to open up. I think that we've all kind of been trained long enough now to know best practices and try to stay safe and stuff. And why not? I mean, people need people.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it anyway.
That's a good observation. Karl, what about you?
Oh, wow. After having worked with the public for so long, I'm kind of antisocial anyway. I like the people I like, but the public, and I'm not sure here that we're pretty much under control here, but if it were like in a larger city, I'd be a little afraid of bringing it home to people that I know that are much more fragile. So I'd have to probably decline on one of those.
Okay. All right. And what about you, Christian?
I will answer that question because I did go to a convention. There was a very here's a strange one.
It was a small one.
It was a small one. It was a small one. Don't go do that. Yeah. Shush. It was. Well, here's the funny part. There was a group out there called Hero Hype. And they actually, as funny as it sounds, before Tampa Bay Comic-Con canceled, they actually had a convention the weekend before Tampa Bay Comic-Con was supposed to happen. So they had a convention out in Tampa, and they had one here in Orlando. And I had my misgivings. I said, I'm going to try this. I'm just going to see what it's like. I literally wore a face mask. I literally put on a face shield and a thing. I mean, I had hand sanitizer. And then we're talking about, this is for the traveling TARDIS when we go back up and running. Yeah.
That's serious.
Yeah. Well, before they canceled Tampa Bay Comic-Con, we actually had a thing, a warning for the traveling TARDIS of all things, where we had to tell people, you need to sanitize up. We have to wipe down the TARDIS. You couldn't hold it to your face. I mean, we had all these rules and everything ready to go. And after for the TARDIS.
Yeah, I can see that.
And we say you couldn't hold up to your face, or if you did want to hold up your spine, we just really had to clean it. You had to let us know. And then when you gave it to bed, we had to wipe it down. You had to sanitize. I mean, that's why you have this whole thing of sanitizer, and we were prepared and ready to go. That's just for photo op, which was really a thing, and it just didn't happen. But they had Hero Hype here in Orlando. Took place on iDrive, and I said, you know what? I want to support my friends. I want to try to get to some normal, but I'm not going to be stupid. So I wore a face shield and a face mask at the same time. And as soon as I walked out, I threw them out. And I didn't. Normally I bring a backpack and stuff like that. I don't have the traveling TARDIS with me. Melanie still has it in Tampa. It's been there for 5 months. Go figure. A traveling TARDIS that doesn't travel.
Road trip.
Yeah, exactly. Trip. Yeah, that is going to happen. But I went to the convention alone, and there were some brilliant ideas. The vendors were 6 feet apart. They were doing stuff like people had books. They had a big piece of plastic, and if you wanted to see the book, they would pull it out. Certain merchandise was behind them instead of in front. So there was a lot of things. I felt safe around the vendors, but there were some who walked in there. I'm not going to say or whatnot, but I was just like, okay, this is a little bit too much for me, so I left. But I wanted to support everybody, including my friends, including a group of cosplayers called the Gotham Underground. They're a wonderful team. They're very interactive, but I just, as soon as, what are you flirting with?
T.L. Shively, that's my evil Lynn, and I'm her Orko.
I'm not going there. Speaking of tiny, anyway, it's so I went.
Enough about you, anyway.
Yeah, I would, if there was another one, I would probably go. But I would want to watch what kind of safety precautions happen. If they're just a free for all, no masks or anything like that, I'm like, yeah, thanks for playing. If this is a day in Miami Beach, no, I don't think so. But if there is all these safety precautions, yes, because I want to be supportive. We need to get back to some kind of normal. I know the debates are out there. People are going like, we should be home until we're moles and hermits and all that stuff. And then we have people going, yeah, we don't have the math. I think you can find the middle ground, because what kind of bothers me, I'm sorry, I'm just rambling on. Stop me when you want me to.
No, keep going. We got another hour and a half to fill.
Okay,
we're counting on you.
That hour.
And
actually, Cindy's got some comments here.
I didn't know being a hermit was an option. That's cool.
It is an option.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody tell you, Carl, about this?
I'm taking that.
So I'm one to say and I got to say this and express this. The news doesn't say much, and we talked about this, Brian, that the news talks about the COVID from outside that attacks us, but not the COVID that inside that attacks us. When you have people with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, domestic abuse has gone up. I mean, all suicide has gone up, and it's really just a scary notion that they don't mention these things. And we're creatures that need to interact, except for Carl. We're creatures that need to interact, be affectionate. That's why we have the conventions. That's why millions of people go to these things every single year, just every single time. It's because they want to hug, kiss, dance, take selfies, and we need to do that. And this is a great substitute for things we can't do, but it's no substitute for the affection and interaction that is the geekdom that we've come accustomed to. It just doesn't.
I can see that. Yeah, and Cindy, thank you all for your comments. And if you have any questions for the four of us, please do not hesitate to ask, because that's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're kind of like less formal than we are during regular shows. But Cindy Kemp says, where are we going and what's up with this handbasket? I think she's got us pegged right off from the start there. And let's see. And this clown says something about a YouTube channel. Anyway, please subscribe when you go there. And it is a better experience than Facebook. Get on it, Mr. Zuckerberg. And don't worry, Cindy, just mention my name and you'll be out of there in no time. And Sarah would go to a convention. Well, Sarah's going to be part of a convention eventually. We're having SarahCon.
So she is the convention.
She is the party, I'm telling you, folks.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, she doesn't
Brian,
know it yet.
You had another convention that you went to. It was a little get-together. I saw the pictures at the restaurant, I think.
Yeah. Carl and I and Donna Carlene.
TL was there, right?
TL Shively and her husband Paul and their son Alan, and Michaela Jade and her husband were there too, and Cookie, which was the real star of the show, because like so many people love my wife. They've never met her. Shut up, Christian. Shut up, Christian. Hashtag shut up, Christian. And I knew the minute I said that, I would be.
You might want to complete the sentence.
Yeah, I realize that I'm going to have to elucidate a little more on this subject. But no,
following you on Facebook. You got to finish the sentence.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's the anticipation of me finishing the sentence. But no, everybody loves Cookie. Everybody says, I just love Cookie. And I'm like, you've never met her. Derive from that what you will. But yeah, we did
tolerate you. We love bring them home.
I don't know who tolerates me. I just show up and they're like, hi, Brian. Hey, Cookie. So anyway, but no, we had a little get together. And I think, Karl, I think it's safe to say that we know each other well enough to know that we have all been taking the proper precautions.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like Donna and I have been living this hermitage style and going out to the grocery store where I wear a mask and avoid almost all human contact. And she's been staying home or going out occasionally to take one friend to the doctor and back. So, I mean, we have limited our exposure almost to nothing.
Yeah.
And that was our one exposure, Michaela Con.
Yeah, and we were happy to expose ourselves to her. I mean, be exposed to her. I mean, wait a second. I was glad to see her. Anyway, because actually we saw each other at the no, you can't get that image out of your mind, Christian. Yeah. Don't even try. But no, Michaela and I actually spent the day together at Peoria Con earlier in the year, which I think was like the second convention I attended this year. And I had one more convention in early February in Southern Illinois, which was amazing. But by then the lockdowns were starting, and the stuff about COVID was getting around by then. Clyde Hall, God bless you, Clyde Hall, for helping get us down there to Benton, Illinois. And the thing was, they took all the proper precautions as per the CDC. So there was like plastic in some places. Everyone was, not sitting next to each other, except Kathy Jackson and I. And again, Kathy and I know each other well enough to know that each of us are taking precautions. But it was a very positive experience. Then that was the last show I've been at. And my next show right now, and it still looks like it's on, is October 2nd in Hannibal, Missouri. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, let's move on. I did have a comment here from CityCap. I went to QuadCon Altoona because of the precautions being taken. The site checked temps on the way in, required masks, required spacing. And let's see. And she wore a mask, ate before I went, wore my seizure glasses because they're full wrap, wore gloves, cleaned up early and often and frequently. And continues, I would have done IABE, the Indie Author Book Expo, because of the spacing, and I could have done all of my personal restrictions, but I was in full-on quarantine. But she continues, I was able to set up my stuff, so I had nearly everything hidden behind plastic shield type things. And Sarah says, truth about the depression and anxiety that doesn't get mentioned with COVID. And
I know it's sad because we always hear every time we watch the news that there's this many deaths, there's this many contractions. It's just like, what's going on inside the house that they're not reporting, and that's because there's so many naysayers. There's like, we shouldn't be going out and stuff like that. No. We need to go out. That's my opinion. There's no way we can just. I mean, the time for now. We do it smartly. We wear the masks. We social distance, and I know there are people who can't wear the mask. So just social distance. There's a sidewalk on the other side of the street. That's all I'm asking. I don't think that's too much to ask, but people.
Well, Christian, on one of your shows, I think it was Melanie that was mentioning the different color wristbands. Was it Melanie?
Yeah.
Melanie or Jessica. Yeah, this was.
I think it was. Yeah, it was Jessica or Melanie.
I think it was Jessica, and it was a great idea, guys. If you want to comment on this. They came up with the streetlight idea for wearing a wristband to signify to other people about contact. So if you had like a red wristband on, that meant I don't want to be touched, no hugs, no kisses, no nothing. I am completely
keep your distance.
keep your distance. Yellow means I might be, but you have to ask first.
Mm-hmm.
So no, cosplay is not consent on that one. Green means grab me and touch me and frisk me and Sarah me anytime.
And Christian's colorblind, so all he sees is green.
I love that idea. I think it's so smart.
I do too.
I think that, it kind of knows and gives you it's a nice way of saying without having to ask, can I do anything, and doesn't give that uncomfortable position of just like, well, I really haven't seen it well. It just basically says flat out, this is what I want. And I think it's a brilliant idea.
It's genius. Yeah.
I want that wherever I go. Theme parks, everywhere.
Absolutely.
Karl, you were about to say something?
Oh, I agree. Everywhere. Take that.
Yeah, seriously, I think it's going forward, especially because we all know that, even after a vaccine is developed, this isn't going to go away completely. We're going to be dealing with this for a long, long time. But I seem to think it was Jessica. I think it was on the show I was on for Indie Event, and which, by the way, is brilliant, and you should go back and watch them all on the Geek Insider and Indie Event pages on YouTube. So, because I'm on there, and you know how I am. Anyway, no, I think it's a great idea. I really do, because I've got friends like Cindy. Cindy has some health issues. I know a lady who last year at SilCon in Mattoon, Illinois, whenever she goes out in public, she has to wear a face mask, a surgical face mask, because she's got, I think she's got like virtually no immune system, but she's got an author and she's got to go out and, make the sales and everything. I saw a video from one convention that went on about a week ago, and it was pretty sane because the convention filtered in the people. There wasn't this mad usual rush to like storm the guests and everything. They were very careful about making sure they had like a wall of like dividers behind them with curtains and all, and that's where the vendors and the guests would walk, so they could easily maintain social distancing and a distance from the fans. Plus, they put you have your table in front of you where you put your racks and your books and your comics or whatever. Well, they had another table in front of that.
Right.
So that you had that 6 foot. And the rule was, you just did not leap beyond that unless you were given permission. And, you just slide things back and forth. So I thought that was very, very sane. And it's like Sarah mentions the truth about the depression and anxiety. And I admit, that I tell people I'm antisocial as hell. Or I just can't get along with anyone. That could be it too. But I had an incident about 3 weeks ago. I had a really complete meltdown from depression because of not being able to see people and everything. And all this time I've been like, just another con, not gonna go off. What are you guys crying about? Then all of a sudden I am just like a puddle. I am a total mess.
But if I say Sarah or Meredith or Michaela, you'll run out the door.
That door will not exist. I will just turn that thing into.
And Brian, I think what you were feeling was kind of like what a lot of us were feeling down in Florida when Tampa Bay canceled.
Oh,
yeah. It just, I felt like a balloon had been popped. Yeah. And just all of my energy was out. And then it was like the next day I just, I said, well, I have a choice. I can either be really depressed about it and be in a bad mood, or I can just get busy and do something.
But they feel like dominoes, Meredith. It was like, I think it wasn't just Tampa. Tampa Bay was the last bastion that we were doing in the fall. Then all of a sudden, MegaCon moved to Spooky Empire. Spooky Empire said, nope, both of our conventions, August and October, were gone. So that happened, and then Dragon Con canceled, and then MegaCon finally followed suit, and I think there was another convention before that, Necronomicon on the West Coast. So they were just falling like dominoes, and then just said, my God, Hallsmat is the next one up on the batting list. And if the Hallsmat doesn't go through, 2020 is just a bust completely of convention. I'm sorry, Hallsmat is a holiday Matsuri, which is basically geekdom with a Christmas twist. It is awesome. It is an awesome one. But I also got to elaborate that Jessica is one of my co-hosts with Melanie. Melanie is the director of the show. And she came up with a brilliant idea if Tampa Bay went through. She was actually going to take all of her paintings. She had a booth. She was going to buy a poster with her scan code on it, put it where the booth was, and that was her booth. And she says, if you want more information, scan this and go online. And I'm just like, yeah, I didn't even think about that. But the paintings, people are walking by paintings and hacking, coughing, and breathing, and it goes right onto your painting, and you're taking that home. So she goes, no way. So,
yeah.
I mean, I brought my own speaker. You had the microphones and everything for the panels. If I was going to do that, I actually have a speaker that I use to go, like if I'm doing Ren fairs or something like that where there's no power. So I brought a speaker with a microphone. That was just going to be strictly for me. I was not going to use any of the equipment that they had. That's how tight it was for me.
Yeah. Well, I do community theater. I don't need a speaker. In fact, there is a show, BurtCon, where for the last 5 years I've been the PA system.
Wow.
And it's a large facility, and Scott, who runs the show, he was like, Brian, I need somebody loud, and somehow he thought of to make an announcement. And I said, you sure you want me to do this? And he's like, yeah. And so I did the classic electric company, hey you guys, and the place turned into a morgue.
Look it up, millennials.
Yeah, it's like the voice of judgment has spoken. So the only person louder is Cookie. So, they would hear her on the highway.
Wow.
So, yeah, we know how to project. Bill Sarton says, as the COVID winter of 2020 rages on and conventions aren't going to be a viable option to sell your product, what changes in marketing are you planning or already doing as a substitute? That is a super question, Bill. Meredith, I see you smiling there. Do you have an answer?
Honestly, I live and breathe online, so my marketing and strategies and all of that hasn't changed. In fact, it's amped up to include my own social media so that when I share something out, I have a broader voice also, and it's not just me. Although we need to do that as creators, we all need to do a little bit of shameless self-promotion. It's necessary. You have to do that in order to grow your channels. You grow your channels, you have a bigger voice. When you have a bigger voice, you have the ability to advocate for other people. So it's this whole rising tides mentality of bring other people along with you. My audience is not the same as Brian's audience, who's not the same as Karl's audience or Christian's audience. But when we collaborate and we do things like this, we hope that our audience will come together and go, hey, Christian's got some really interesting stuff. Maybe I wasn't into Doctor Who necessarily, but I want to tune in and learn more. Then my audience goes to him, Same thing with Karl, same thing with Brian, And I am not one to do a follow for follow. I will talk against that all the time because you want an organic audience who will become fans and friends in the long run. I mean, the numbers, yes, that's great for marketing, but you want the organic people, the ones who will support you through thick and thin, who will hit that share button for you and share out your content. They become your advocators, and through them you find more people who will advocate for you. And it's just this whole ripple effect that I wish more people would adopt. They don't. Some people are just like, no, they're all mine. I don't want to share them. If I share them, I'll lose them. Yeah. And that is not the case. Not in the years that I've been doing this. And I've been doing, I've been in marketing, I've been in publication for about 25 years in one form or another.
And
Karl, how about, sorry, Christian?
Oh, that's fine. I would say that Meredith is actually hooked up to the internet. That's not her earphones. She literally has that going into her brain on the internet. She's literally
I am
hooked
only
up.
half human.
A little thing in the back.
There you go. Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Meredith of Borg up there. But anyway, Karl, how are you? Now you released a book this year,
Mm-hmm.
The Mad Gasser of Calhoun County, with a beautiful Eric Hawkins cover.
Yes.
You need it. I don't remember where I put mine, but anyway, Karl, have you done anything different to market your book? Since I know you were going to do some shows with me. There you go.
Have I done anything different? No. I was going to do 2 shows this year, and Donna was coming with her books, and we had decided that that was kind of it for this year. And when those 2 shows canceled, one of which we thought for sure would go, the one in September, but no, it got canceled as well. So we've gone back on more traditional means. We used to sell more books face to face. That's not working out so well now. So yeah, through our Facebook page, we've sold some, and that's great. But as we don't depend on that money to live, we have another source of income right now. I'm going to treat those as canned goods. And those books will be just as good next year when things hopefully do open up. And so we're saving all our stock for next year.
Very good. How about you, Christian? You do appearances, for your podcasts and your great show, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Now, what has the current kerfluffle done to your contact with your public, and how have you tried to get around that and stay in touch with them?
As funny as it sounds, I think if there's something positive about what COVID did to the geek industry, it's actually helped the podcasters out because, believe it or not, these people are staying home and they want content.
Mm-hmm.
And as we mentioned, and thank you, Sarah, and I forgot who else it was. It was Carly and Sarah who congratulated us. So I'm assuming that's why the numbers are going up. That there seems to be a little discussion. The Doctor Who wave is still going on, and plus we were very blessed, for a better term, that I don't want to say this in a derogatory way because I know a lot of these people are out of business. I mean, not a lot of business, but they're still finding work. But we had celebrities that were just too busy for us. Not necessarily in the mean way. It was just that they were doing work. Now they don't have anything, but they want us to continue talking about what they do. And I love it because it seems that when they had the chance, they would have been on the show. So we had Annette Badline, we had Nick Briggs, we had Katie Manning, we had Sophie Aldred. We just had celebrity after celebrity after celebrity, Richard Ashton. I mean, we were just having a great time. And they're finding work now, so it's kind of subsided. But I'm just appreciative that we've had them, and they brought a lot of. I see a lot of fingers. I just want to make sure I'm not running over there.
That's hands. Go ahead.
Promises, Meredith. But I got to be in IndieCon. I got to be on CyberCon. I got to do a lot of these online conventions. I got to do a lot with Brian. I got a lot to do with Meredith. And it got to us to focus because a lot of our stuff is online. And thanks to Meredith and Geek Insider, which we will continue till the day we die, as long as we're on StreamYard, that she is one hell of an amazing person who supports all of us. I've never met a person like Meredith who says, you know what, my time is to help other people. And she walks the walk and talks the talk. And, our audience has grown. I don't want to get too much into the numbers, but.
I do.
Okay. You want me to say the numbers?
Well, here's the thing. It wasn't that long ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, you were at 35,000. And you were like, we hit a milestone. And you were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. Yeah. And then the next thing you know, you're like, we're almost at 36. I says, you're going to be at 36 by the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that's bullshit. And I said, no. You said my goal was to be at 36,000 by the end of the month. And I said, no, you're going to probably be about 38 at least by the end of the month.
Oh God.
Because here's the thing, and I know it sounds scary, but that when you hit a certain milestone, and this is where the numbers actually do matter, and this is why everybody should be following each other and helping each other grow their networks. When you get to a certain milestone, then it is a runaway train. Then all of a sudden, I wouldn't be surprised if you got your blue check mark on Twitter. I wouldn't be surprised, and then you're going to see that growing exponentially because people are like, oh, celebrity status, and they want to be connected with that.
Yeah.
Now, if you have quality content on top of it and you're not an asshole online, you're just going to grow exponentially.
Well, good night, everybody. That just
My drive home safely. Yeah. Christian and I gotta go.
So you see these numbers, and at the very beginning when you're starting out, and it's so frustrating. I mean, Brian and I know, like I've had YouTube for a decade. I didn't build it, so why am I only at 103? I think it is. Because I didn't
200 or more.
Because but see, here's the thing: I did not advocate for myself. I did not do any self-promotion. And I'm okay with that, honestly, because like Christian was saying, my passion is helping other people. If I can lift them up and give them a voice and give them a platform and send them out into the world and let them do. And the reason why that wakes me up is because I have been around people who have done projects, who have started projects, and they started off with this great idea, and I'm on board, and I'm helping them. And then they decide that it's not for them. But they still want this thing to succeed. I'm like, look, I cannot want this more than you. You have to want this. I will help you, but I cannot do it for you. And when we get to a point where we're helping ourselves, Christian is doing that. And I see that you're in an uncomfortable place. I do. I see that you're in an uncomfortable place because a lot of people, Karl, you can probably speak to this. A lot of people are more afraid of success than they are of failure.
Very much so.
Yeah. And I'm going to pass that ball to you, because I know you can speak on that.
Oh, about the fear of success?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, because, if you're sitting down here like I am, okay, and you're saying, oh, I got 200 some people, you're comfortable. You really are comfortable with that. And as it grows, this pressure builds, and you're thinking, okay, now I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to get a better camera, I got to go get a better microphone. And all these guys online are telling you, oh, if you want to get your numbers up, you got to do this. And you got to build your own, whatever they call those little pictures on your YouTube. Your own little picture for each show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Your thumbnail and all.
Thumbnail. Thank you, Brian. Thumbnail. Yeah. I'm old now. I can't remember stuff. So, but people will tell you, oh, you got to do this. You got to do that. And pretty soon, all that pressure is building up on you, and you're feeling like, I'm a failure. I've got 36,000 people, but oh my God, how long am I going to keep them? Yeah. And you worry about that.
Yeah, that is the case, because it is a runaway train, because it was just a steady growth. Mm-hmm. And when we did the regular podcast numbers before, I haven't even checked yet lately. Because the StreamYard, the regular numbers were, we would obtain like 500 a week, like 500 hits per podcast a week, and it would take a week. In a weekend, the StreamYard would take in about between 2,500 to 5,000. Yeah. That's how much this technology. This is why I'm so grateful to Meredith, because it has the audience has exploded. Mm-hmm. We're now being seen visually, and we're going up to the next level. But yeah, it does bother me every day. It's like, okay, how do I keep these people coming? How do I keep them from leaving? What do I need to do? How do you reinvent yourself? So yeah, I think that pressure comes with anything that you try to do.
Sure.
Because when you're sitting in neutral, you're like, okay, how do I get the first gear so I can get out of this? So I think about it. But yeah, now that it's happening, it's like, okay, so what is the next step? What is the next level? And
you have to keep doing what you're doing.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
They'll start leaving.
You know,
people have connected to you. You are finally reaching an audience that maybe didn't know you existed.
exactly.
They did. They're connecting with you as a human being, you as a voice and a personality, and so they will stay. The thing is, as long as you are enjoying what you do, that shows in your content, that shows in your voice, how you present yourself and all that. And people will say, hey, come join, again, to that whole network of growing, exponential growth, is that, yes, exploding audiences, and it's bloody out there, I'm telling you. No, but that's what I mean is, like, now that you're reaching them, it's going to grow exponentially. I mean, seriously, if you thought about the numbers, if you said, okay, let's say, Karl, let's say you have 10 core people that will share out, and you say, hey, promise me that you're going to share this out to 10 people, and tell those, and hopefully those 10 people will tell, each one of them will tell 10 of their people. You're growing exponentially. It's not one by one by one by one, or even by tens. It's by hundreds.
And you get mentioned on someone else's show, like on Indie Vent.
Yeah,
that helps, a lot of people, because be getting mentioned, then those people go, oh, what is that? I mean, I had never heard of Phantasmagoria before.
Oh my God!
Perfect example.
But
wow. Okay. And I'll bet not a single person will quit watching that or will unsubscribe to them.
Yeah.
And I would bet the same thing about the Tales of the Traveling TARDIS. That people are not going to unsubscribe.
Well, I just like the fact that, Cindy, you said exploding audiences, and the first thing in my mind was that a Monty Python skit where they're taking TNT and we're watching. I love Tina's next comment, if you want to put that up there.
Whose comment?
Tina, the next comment now.
Tina,
yes, there we go.
I don't want exploding audiences. I have enough stuff to clean up. By the way, if you're just joining us, this is Brian K. Morris's show, not mine. You're watching Clever Title Pending.
Or mine or Karl's.
I've just taken over the show, so I'm sorry.
You're bringing up a great point.
Get off me!
You say that all the time.
You're bringing up great points. I was talking before the show about a guy that I started watching his YouTube channel, and first of all, bald Claude Van Damme there, yeah. So I was watching this guy, and it was a fishing show. Okay, and I don't care about fishing at all. But I had a little thumbnail on YouTube that says, maybe you'd like this. I'm like, okay. And it had an attractive woman sitting at the front of the boat. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'd like it. I don't know. So I click on it. It had a funny headline, a title to the show. So I click on it. This guy he goes out fishing every week. He films it. He has a very attractive assistant with him. And it's a different lady every time. They're hilariously funny. They do skits every once in a while. On Halloween, they went out fishing in a boat dressed in costumes. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So I watched some of his shows, and he's like amazed he's got 50,000 subscribers.
Right.
Well, COVID happened. See, everybody who would be fishing or out having a good time is now stuck at home. The only way they can get out and do this is watching his show.
Right.
And they're stuck now, like me. I got hooked, so to speak.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And now I looked at him this morning. He has 137,000 subscribers.
Wow.
For a little half-hour fishing show he does.
You gotta love those captive audiences.
I guess.
Yeah. Karl, I like my show, but I'm not growing breasts to get people on my show.
You say that now.
You're okay. You've got Melanie. You'll be fine.
Oh my God!
Just put Melanie in the front of the boat. You're okay.
Oh, God. I'm not doing her husband anything. But No, the girls I got on there are awesome. Jessica, Melanie, Misha, all of them. They're wonderful.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
They are really. They're great. And Bill has a further question. Bill Sarton at Sarton Art 76, the artwork of Bill Sarton, where everything old is new again. What changes and conventions that were instituted because of the COVID madness do you believe will become permanent, and why?
I want social distancing to become permanent forever. In theme parks, in grocery stores, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably my best thing, and more sanitation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I would like to see even more of that, because I've gone to the grocery store and I'll pick up a can of something and there's dust and crap all over the top of the thing. And I'm like, didn't you clean this before you put it out here? Supposedly this is sanitized, but I'm not seeing it always.
I'm just mystified that, people actually, like grown adults, needed lessons on how to wash their hands properly. I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. But, speaking to the grocery stores and stuff like that, I grew up in retail and cash and all that stuff. And how many times have you seen people of all ages lick their thumb and count their cash?
Yeah.
Or they lick their fingers to get those stupid produce bags separated so you can put your vegetables in there. So now, if you're not carrying wipes and stuff, you lick your fingers, you separate the bag, and then now you're touching all the fucking tomatoes. Sorry, I dropped the F-bomb. But I feel
You're
very
passionate
strongly about that. I'm like, what are you doing? And then you're screaming that that you're not wearing a mask, but you're the one that's licking your fingers and touching the vegetables.
Right.
So it's just, self-awareness.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of social distancing, because I too am a hermit. Like I said, I live and breathe online. So this is great for me. I've never been in an uncomfortable place when it came to being like online for the most part. And I have social interaction. I have my husband, and I even tell him to go find a friend sometimes.
Well, I'm thinking every time that Michaela, Cindy, and Sarah go pole dancing, how many singles have touched them in provocative spaces?
Yeah.
Do I really want to watch that dollar?
You're going to have that thing framed or put in my You have a vacuum packed for later.
How did you get a 10? Anyways. How did you fit it? Never mind.
Yeah, and I'm still back on Meredith's thing about the kind of customers you get, and like I used to work retail, and they would, or like when I worked for the water company, and people will unfortunately pull their money out of places that you think you'd have to bury them before you get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They buried in places where the cure for COVID would be found after a while.
Yeah. Just remember, we found penicillin on moldy bread, so there's always hope.
There you go.
But hello, Amy Hale, and
Amy.
And we all love Amy. And
so licking spines isn't a bad thing then, huh?
Oh no, licking spines is totally fine. It is a time-honored tradition that's gone on for how many days now. But anyway, let's see. I'm trying to think. What have I got? Here we go. Nightmare Oasis from Lacey Lemke. All right, Lacey's a fine lady, and I've read some of her stuff, and she looks so innocent, but her stuff is creepy AF. And anyway, that's the way you know it's extra good. But anyway, let's see.
A Playboy magazine instead of something that looked like something that came out of Satan's play.
Yeah, well, that's the reason all my Playboys have rusty staples in them.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you talk to Brian and I, we have the ones with the staples in them still. You got to be careful.
That's right. Yeah. Go Pepe, everyone. Anyway, Bill Sarton wants to know, who's everyone's favorite Doctor Who? Tom Baker was my introduction to the world of Doctor Who, but Matt Smith is my personal favorite.
I can answer that.
Go for it.
I love Tom Baker, and he was my doctor for the longest time. And Matt Smith, I like. Donna's not coming, is she? Okay, good. Because she doesn't like Matt Smith.
What?
I know.
What's wrong with it, girl?
But hey, but Colin Baker did an exceptional job during a hard time when the BBC was just coming down on that show, and he was not given much direction. The writing was horrible for a lot of the episodes, but he really did great. And I got to meet him in a convention in Chicago once. And I had read that he had tried to play the Doctor as an alien. He wanted to be very alien and not like a human. And I mentioned that to him as I was across the table getting my autograph. I said, I read that you really tried to play it like an alien and you really did a great job. And he stood up from the table, reached across, shook my hand, made everybody else back up. He says, I'm going to talk to this gentleman for a while, and spent several minutes talking to me. So since then, I've got to say Colin Baker is one of the favorites.
Yeah. Meredith, how about you?
Honestly, I'm going to say that David Tennant is. And I say that because, and I have it's kind of like a 007 comparison. I grew up with Roger Moore as James Bond, so that is my James Bond. Mm-hmm. David Tennant is like my first introduction into Doctor Who, so therefore he is my favorite. But he can be knocked off by a hill. I have to watch more episodes.
You do, and the Peter Cushing movies. Those were my introduction. Yeah. So for the longest time, that was my Doctor Who. And
I'd like to know what your 007 favorite is too.
Oh yeah, maybe we'll do that next round. Christian, who's your favorite Who?
I promise you, you're watching Clever Title Pending with this guy right here, not the traveling TARDIS. I don't know.
Nonsense.
We're going to the Doctor Who now. You never forget your first, Tom Baker. Because I was a creature of PBS. Parents left it on, and I got an education that I never forgot. Since you go to Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, Electric Company, and then Benny Hill, Monty Python, Dave Allen, and this is when I think PBS still had full frontal nudity or something like that. They managed to do it. Yeah, remember?
Oh yeah,
I remember. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I got an education from PBS because my parents thought they could leave the channel on.
It was educational.
Yeah. I'm up here getting an education, Mom. I really am.
Mommy, can you spend $30 so I can see boobies on the PBS channel? Tom Baker, because I grew up as a kid who wasn't, I wouldn't say I'm not athletic or something like that, but I meant the kids around me loved Transformers, they loved G.I. Joe, they liked GoBots. I don't know if those people exist anymore. I think they're dead. They grew up with their superheroes, Marvel, DC, they were all out there. And I watched a show called Doctor Who. It was Tom Baker, and he was just completely different. He was witty. He was funny. I mean, I think when it comes to the first personified alien, he made that character alien. I mean, there were times that he didn't know if he was going to go evil, manic, crazy, or things like that. But some of the best Doctor Who moments, I think it's Genesis of the Daleks, the first scene where he and Davros, he's not even a prisoner or anything. He's just like, let's talk. Scientist to scientist, and they're just having this discussion. All it is, and it was one of the most brilliant pieces of sci-fi that I have ever seen. Colin, just the guy himself is just amazing. But I think a lot of the Doctor Who's the people who play the Doctors, who are fans of the fans, are the most appreciative, and I put Colin into that. I met David Tennant once. But if I was to say who is my new reboot, it's got to be Peter Capaldi. Not only is he a fan of the show, he's a fan of the fans. That's the guy I want. I mean, just like things like the Zygon inversion, where he's doing that speech about war. Oh, yeah. Those two boxes right there. I mean, he's had some wonderful moments in Doctor Who. I just think the writing was just not up to his par. Claire, I think, should have gotten booted out of the TARDIS with Matt. I think to this day, I argue that I think his first companion should have been Nardole, because him and Nardole harkened back to the Second Doctor and Jamie, where they were buddy. We forgot about the buddies, and that actually kind of got influence between Donna and 10. You saw the buddy come back, but it truly came back, and I was very, very nervous when I heard that Nardole was coming back for the Dr. Mysterio episode. And I was like, I hated him in Husbands. Why would you bring him back? And the moment that you see the Doctor coming up and he's seeing the map up there and he goes, oh, they're going for the capital cities. And Nardole walks in eating something, goes, no, they're not. What?
Yeah.
And then Peter's going like, yes, they are. And he goes, no, they're not. Where was this? This is the kind of stuff that we needed. And Nardole, and they just worked out so well. The scene where Missy's is about to be executed. And Nardole just walks in the monk costume and he pulls down the hood and he goes, I had permission from your wife to kick your ass. I was just like, those moments, it's just like, those were the times that Capaldi shined because he had Matt Lucas just bucking him and they were going back and forth. And I was like, and that's no offense to Pearl Mackie, but Matt Lucas and Peter Capaldi were just really doing it. I think if Matt had been the first companion, I think you would have been talking about the longevity. And I think Stephen Moffat just got too weird. I mean, it just got weird, especially at the end. And it was just like, I didn't even know why Claire wanted to be in the TARDIS. So I was just like, please, we need to give Peter Capaldi his own companion. He's too grungy. But I started liking the metamorphosis of what I've called Brown Doctor, where his hair just gets weird. And he's finally, I swear to you that when his first season came up, and Stephen Moffat is, and people were kind of negative because they thought the Doctor was too old and too mean-spirited. And I bet you Stephen Moffat was calling Peter Capaldi and goes, what do you think we can do to improve it? And I bet you Peter walked in with his hair back, with the guitar, with all that, that messed up costume. And they said, this is your new Doctor. And if we started that one, I think we would be talking about Peter Capaldi in his 5th and 6th year now. But that's my opinion about that, and I'm just rambling. Put me in my my element. I'll keep talking about it.
No. I completely understand, and I agree. Colin Baker's one of my favorite because of personal interaction I've had with him, and I think I've told that story over and over and over on the shows. But I agree. As an actor, as a former actor myself, Peter Capaldi was great because he was like William Shatner in his better moments as Kirk. You see the wheels turning. He's not just reciting lines. He's not just grimacing. He's being that character. And Capaldi did some amazing acting. Actually, I don't have any complaint with any of the Doctors as far as acting is concerned. But, I also agree that Colin Baker got short shrift. Although, but you hear him on the Big Finish audios, and he is just...
It's redeemed.
He is. He's more than redeemed, I think. And I think a lot of people now are finally giving him his due, because I remember living through that period of time when Colin was the Doctor, and a lot of people were slagging him because, he wasn't Peter Davison. He wasn't Tom Baker,
And who is?
Yeah.
Except Tom Baker and Peter Davison.
Well, it seemed to be a form because you have somebody as wiry and as manic and as as psycho as Tom Baker, and then you have this passive and honest and genuinely nice Peter Davison. What were you going to contrast that with? You would have to go back to wiry and manic and totally off. But Peter Capaldi, the Where I Fall speech.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I could feel it. And the moment that John Sims walks up and puts his finger on his face and goes, you see this face? This is the face that didn't listen to a word of what you said. And I could feel the Doctor's hearts crushing right under the impact of that. I was just like, oh, damn. But that's the good acting. And that's when Moffat's running on his own. He wasn't a great showrunner as far as my take, but when he wrote, and he wrote brilliantly.
Oh yeah. And it's like, Moffat, he's one of my favorite writers, period. And I agree that maybe his last couple seasons weren't as great as some of the stuff he did for Matt Smith, but he has so many things that I quote now as catchphrases. Like, there's one thing you never put into a trap. Things like that. Who gives monsters nightmares? I do. That sort of thing. So, yeah, I agree, and I always tell people that my favorite doctor is the one I'm watching right now.
Mhm.
So, Eric Hawkins says, Big River Comic Convention might be the only con we have this year. So make plans now, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Hannibal, Missouri. Come see Brian K. Morris, Amy Hale, Eric Hawkins, and more. Well, just the three of us. That's all you need. We're pretty much the convention right there.
Yeah.
So,
Just walk in and leave.
yeah, just walk in. Okay, they're here. Okay,
I'm good.
we're good. We're leaving now. Let's see. We got that, and Bill Sarden. We got all kinds of people I haven't talked to here. Oh my goodness, and I lost my place.
That's
yeah.
all there you go.
Yeah. And done one exploding audiences, you're no fun. And and I like the part where I've gotten to work from home since March, says Cindy Cap. Oh, I've been doing that since 2012. And Ted Davies Artistry. Hello, children. Well, good to see you, Ted.
Hello, chef.
That's right. And Ted does a Ted Davies Artistry on YouTube. Plus, he co-hosts a cigar show with the one, the only Mr. Karl Witsman that I've been enjoying, by the way. It's been a heck of a good show.
Great.
And I'm not a cigar smoker yet, but I'm not going to tell my doctor or my insurance agency. But also, Ted recently did an interview with me, and I was utterly delighted with how well it turned out. So, and Cindy says hi. Everybody says hi, and he says hi back. And
Don't let us interrupt.
that's how it works, people. The social convention, okay?
Yeah.
And Haslam Production says the nighttime show is a lot more risque. I like it. Well, you came to the right place.
No shit.
Yeah. The language, except for me, because my strength is as the strength of 10, because my heart is pure. Hey, Carl.
Whiskey.
Yeah. I'm drinking regular water because I was running a little late and I didn't have time to get into the Kraken, but we may make up for that after the show is done. And Matt Smith, even his name is ordinary, says Carlene. Oh, it's gonna be a long night in the Witsman household tonight. And of course, who should approve of the risqueness of the show but Sarah, of course.
Love you.
Or would kill for the chance to. Cindy Kemp says the first doctor I saw was William Hartnell. Netflix is the bomb. But Christopher Eccleston was my fave. David Tennant comes in second. I could see that. And everybody, if that's your first doctor, you always have a fondness, as been said earlier. And that's why I'm so fond of the Peter Cushing. Because in the mid-70s, and Carl will know, WAND Channel 17, Gator, Illinois, bought a package of movies that they ran at 1:30 on Sunday afternoon, and they'd run the first Peter Cushing Dalek movie, then the second, then they'd show like 2 or 3 other cheapo British shows, and then they'd run the 2 Dalek movies again. And so, like, for the first year they were running the Dalek movies like once a month.
Yeah,
which
didn't
break my heart.
Didn't they have a Doctor Who ripoff? Wasn't that what Quatermass was?
Quartermass, yes, Quartermass in the Pit and all that. Yeah. No, I think, Christian, correct me, didn't Quartermass come first?
I think Quatermass came first. I don't think it was a ripoff, but the only ripoff was Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted. Still rip on those two, but I like Bill and Ted. So, there have been several things. So here's a bit of trivia for the Peter Cushing Doctor. He's human. His name is Doctor Who. It literally is Doctor Who. Not only that, but I don't know if you can. YouTube occasionally gets lucky and you can see the movies online. But if you listen to the theme song of the the movies, you swear it was 70s porn. It has nothing to do with Doctor Who theme. You're not going to go dun 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 dun. No, it goes. I'm like.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to be watching a movie or making out with somebody while watching?
There's no British show that America can't mess up when we take it over.
Yeah. Well, was it Coupling, which Stephen Moffat created?
Yeah.
The original show was brilliant.
Yeah.
The American show version, even though it had some good casting in it, was god awful. In fact, they used the same script as the British show. but except with for a few Americanizations in it. But it was god awful, and they had like Colin Ferguson from Eureka, who's now the Maytag man. And I can't remember the brunette lady. She was later on Heroes and done soap operas forever, but it had a great cast. But there was just something just so off about it. Yeah. Whereas the original British show was just freaking brilliant. And of course, Christian mentions pornography. And
bring it, here it comes. Thank you, Sarah. Don't let us down. But yeah, well, here's the thing, and this was actually a debate panel that I had with. They were talking about British shows and such like that. I think when you get down to the audiences, and this is not an insult to American or British in their respect, it is because when it comes down to the humor, Americans want quick, fast slapstick. Kind of, I don't want to say mindless, but when you get to
mindless, it's mindless.
Yeah, well, okay, mindless.
Yeah.
But when you come to the British humor, it's cerebral. It is a lead up, and not only that, but you don't realize that maybe a whole episode was leading up to this punchline, and once you get hit by the punchline, you get to appreciate what was going on more, and then you get things like. When I grew up, Dave Allen, who would tell the stories, I compare him to Bill Engvall. These two would be talking stories over and over again. I mean, Dave Allen could make you listen. It was just awesome. But you were saying things that don't work and working from the other side. Red Dwarf was converted for 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
It's because Chris Berry. It was because of David Llewellyn. I think it's David Llewellyn. It was because of Danny John Jules. It was for that cast. Mm-hmm. They worked together and they made that. You can't convert it over. Although the woman that they picked for Holly, I thought was excellent. The woman who would be the maid in Frasier, whatever, the assistant in Frasier, was Holly for the American version. But I just like. It just couldn't convert over, and the American cast that they picked, they were just deadpan, and it doesn't work. Rimmer didn't work, and I know they try. I would love to see a Red Dwarf USA, but it just doesn't work. Besides, you had Grant and Naylor who wrote that series, and when people ask me what's Red Dwarf about, I said just imagine Douglas Adams writing a TV series. I think Red Dwarf would be that comparable. Yeah. Because it was that cerebral humor that you get from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, just that really off stuff. One of the funniest lines in there, and I consider myself a little bit of a man of faith. The opening line to one of the episodes was that they found a missing page in the Bible, and it said these characters are fictitious. It was that line. I wasn't even offended. It was just funny. It was that kind of stuff. That makes you think. The joke that Holly pulls on Lister when it was the April Fool's joke. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but the whole thing where there was supposed to be 2 fighters that are going to blow up Red Dwarf, and he's warning him. What was it? Rimmer? Holly it says, "Yes, I had a warning. What was I supposed to tell you?" And then, bam! The ship gets hit by an asteroid. And he goes, "Oh yeah, we're about to get hit by an asteroid." That kind of writing is just brilliant. It was just fun, and it just made it, being it more cerebral made the punchlines even better. For me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and there's just something in the British timing of comedy, I think, that pays a lot of their due to that, our appreciation of that kind of humor. Because I remember back in the 70s and 80s in the summer when the networks would run the unsold pilots. How many times did they try to get Faulty Towers right? Never.
Yeah.
It was painful to watch.
Mm-hmm. And because John Cleese was a perfectionist, I mean, he was told he only wrote the amount of episodes he needed. That was it. I was like, that's all that's all it needs to be. Every single episode's a gem. I don't think any episode is a dud in there. None of them. And I think he was even told to edit the shows due to timing. He goes, no, you're going to run them and you're going to play them the way that they were meant to be. Because every single line, every single joke, communication problems with the deaf woman who couldn't understand anything, the cheap builder that accidentally seals up the kitchen, all that stuff. I mean, it was just time. And that maybe if he went on that I would like to see more episodes, but I think maybe it would have just killed it.
Yeah,
that was just enough. Yeah. That was enough to see what we need to see of Basil Fawlty.
And that really is our way, sadly, in America with lots of entertainment, is you just keep running that show until it dies of a ratings death.
Yeah, exactly.
You never would see anybody say, this show is a success. Now let's stop.
Yeah.
Let's go out while we're still on top. Yeah.
Yeah, very few. Mary Tyler Moore and Carol Burnett are the only two I can think of off the top of my head that said, okay, or MASH, we've made our mark. We've done everything we can. So before the show starts to slide to the pit, let's just call it a day and enjoy what we had.
The damn show ran longer than the war it was betraying. So
yeah.
and the thing is, they could probably still kept going for a couple of years. With the writing was brilliant. It just worked out.
Oh yeah, but they made a great creative choice to stop, and sometimes you have to do that.
Exactly, and but for people who don't know when to stop, you're watching them right now. Anyway, and I'm glad for it. And again, I want to thank you three for coming on here. I really do, because I put out the plea yesterday, and I love you guys. Love you, Meredith.
Just having a day off on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. I'm tag teaming you on the morning.
That works, man. Final Doctor Who question for everyone. What's your favorite episode? Mine is Vincent. I think we're all going to have the same problem. And the Doctor I've seen 100 times and cry every time. Oh, that speech by Bill Nighy in that, where he explains why Vincent Van Gogh is so respected now. I got to beg off this question. I do not have one single episode that I could that I watch over and over to the detriment of the others. I have several. Mm-hmm. I can maybe at best pull one episode per Doctor, but for the most part, there's just been so much brilliant writing and acting on that series that I'm gonna have to. Okay, I'll the Night of the Doctor. Okay, there we go.
The night. Okay, you're.
And the Day of the Doctor too. See the problem I've got?
It's long there.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm begging off my question.
If we could say, like, for each particular Doctor, which one was best, for Tom Baker, City of Death, when they're in Paris,
written by Douglas Adams.
Yes, exactly, and brilliant Adams writing. For Matt Smith, I'm going to steal one from Christian's show where he was mentioning where the Pandorica. And the Doctor is standing on the rock, and everybody who hates him is up there, and he says, "Come get me, but just remember, let someone else go first."
Yes.
I mean, that was fantastic.
Yeah, or Blink.
Blink was
David Tennant.
David Tennant, thank you. Names are escaping me.
It's late.
You got a Whovian in here, so I can probably get a couple of Whovians in there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like putting all 800 of your kids together and saying, pick your favorite ones.
It'd be easier.
Yeah, well, if I wanted to go down the list, there are a couple of perfectly, but for some reason they're not kicking my mind, and Katie Manning would kick me for that one. Tom Baker.
Katie Manning.
But Genesis of the Daleks. The one episode that I know will never see the light of day if it was ever produced in 2020, The Talons of Wang Chiang.
Oh yeah.
The Robert Holmes story, the Face of Evil. I mean, the list goes on and on. Everything with the Key to Time. Destiny of the Daleks I'll throw in there because it was a good Romana 2 story. It just kind of got weiny when they started bringing in the new one, the new team with Adric and Nissa. I was like, okay, I think this show, or at least Tom is ready to go. I could see that.
Yeah.
Vincent and the Doctor. What I usually do is when I had panels and the questions always brought up, how do I get my friends to watch Doctor Who? And they said, well, we create a starter kit. So we find out what they like as far as movies or other TV shows, and then I could start pulling from other episodes. But if I had to pick the one episode to say, this is the episode that you're going to start with, with somebody who I didn't know, yes, Vincent and the Doctor would be it, because it encapsulates everything about Doctor Who from beginning to end. The monsters, the time travel, the heart of what RTD, Russell T Davies, and Moffat had brought into the stories that weren't in Classic Who, that they were trying to bring in. Plus, you've got just brilliant acting between Matt Smith, Karen Gillan, and now, for whatever reason, I can't think of the guy who played Vincent, and that's going to be shame on me. But it was just a playful episode, and yeah, it really tugs at your heartstrings at the very end. It really just pulls you right in. But I think that is the best of everything that encapsulates Doctor Who, because it just takes it, and it's a time travel story, it's a historical story. I mean, it's got everything going for it. I don't think there's been a story that's come rivaling close. If I had to show somebody and said, this is the exemplary episode of Doctor Who. So, I mean, the other one would be the second best is Dalek. The one with Christopher Eccleston, because that's when he started to gain, and I think that's when we kind of left. I don't want to say the clumsiness. That's just the goofiness, because we had Rose, which was kind of goofy, especially where Mickey's got his hands in the trash can. Now it's starting to do that, or the end of the world. You start getting this the Simon Cowell story, which. Wow, I can't think tonight. The Christmas story writer, a Christmas Carol writer, Charles Dickens.
Oh, Charles Dickens.
But it wasn't until Dalek where we picked up, and now we understand where the Doctor's coming from after the Time War and everything. And I think it gave the best impression of what Christopher Eccleston can do as an actor. Not that he's not in the other stories, but this one, he had the Dalek, the room in the Dalek, where he's finally sees a Dalek and he says, "Get me out of here, get me out of here." And then when he finds out that the gun doesn't work, oh, it's on. Yes. It's just a powerful scene, especially when the Doctor just basically says, "You really want to do something? Kill yourself." And then the Dalek just goes, "You would make a good Dalek." I mean, and it was one of my favorite writers, especially for Big Finish, is Rob Sherman.
Yeah.
He wrote some of my favorite Big Finish. If you ever check it out, it's a Scherzo, and my introduction to Big Finish was The Holy Terror, which is a Colin Baker story with Frobisher, the talking penguin. Yes. Frobisher. That was my first introduction, and it was so good because Rob Sherman, I don't want to give too much away if you haven't heard it, it starts off Monty Python-ish. It starts off with that great humor. But when you hang on until the end, you get to the end, you just feel like, oh, God, it feels like the end of Vincent. You're just like, oh, my God. And I'm like, if I were to pick a Big Finish story, that would be the story I would say. I would introduce people to Doctor Who. Big Finish is The Holy Terror. It's just awesome.
Yeah. And I liked was the One Doctor from Big Finish.
I've yet to hear that one.
Oh, my God, it is hilarious.
No. I just downloaded. Big Finish has... If you get the app, I swear to you, it's worth it. Big Finish has all these sales, all these stories that used to be like unattainable are like $2.
Yeah, for download. Yeah,
for download. I'm just like, yeah, I had a 20, and I'm like, I want that.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know this, thank you. It's like I think it's like Matt Lucas and Matt Williams, I think, worked on it. But it's of somebody impersonating the Doctor, and it's a Colin Baker episode. And it's brilliant. And the thing is, this fake is running around in a blue portaloo. Mm-hmm. And he calls it the Stardust, and you know how the engines of the TARDIS, when it's firing up, sound. Well, right. when this takes off, all you hear is flushing over and over and over, like a toilet flushing.
I guess that'll be my next one.
Oh, and Colin Baker does have one great line. He has a fantastic line, and let me say this, and I'm giving up. We'll get to Meredith. She's hiding, but we will not let her get away. But there's a line where Colin Baker is like giving this fake guy hell, and he's admonished by Melanie Bush, Doctor, remember who you are. And he, and that only Colin Baker could deliver this line. He's like, I know, I shall take the high road. I shall be a better person. But before I do... So, Meredith, please chime in before we suck all the oxygen out of the room.
I have absolutely nothing to say. I mean, I am no, seriously. I am new to the Hooniverse. Okay. I mean, I'm familiar with it. I've seen it. It's been kind of on the fringes, but not something that I've watched. But here's the funny thing about me. It's just the way my brain functions and stuff. I could go to a movie and I can watch a movie and I'll have a great time. 5 minutes out of the theater, you ask me what it was about, and I can't tell you. I can only tell you how I feel. I mean, so seriously, unless I'm sitting there and actually doing a review and taking notes, I don't remember that stuff. Okay. So I could not tell you one episode
Meredith,
of anything.
But you like David Tennant. Okay.
Yes, I do, because it was just one of those things where I can picture his face. I can kind of remember his character and stuff like that. And this goes with anything. This goes with reading books. I will read a book from cover to cover because it's an OCD thing. And unless I'm taking notes, I really don't remember. So if somebody were to ask me, okay, elevator pitch on what you just read, I don't have a clue. And it's just one of those things that I know that's how my mind works. So I have to really work hard to take notes, to remember, so that, when I'm doing stuff like reviews and things like that, I can refer to my notes, and then that helps. Right. It's kind of like a workaround for my head. So, when you're talking about specific episodes and things, it took me a really long time to remember names. I mean, when I worked in an office, there was one time I was at the newspaper. I was there for 7 years. There were people I talked to every single day, didn't know their name. I mean, at some point, it's embarrassing. You can't ask them anymore.
And make them wear those every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I loved a Christmas party because I'm not really looking at your chest. I'm looking at your name.
By the way, this is addressing one comment in the suggestions. No, this is not the Traveling TARDIS. This is Clever Title Pending, hosted by this guy. And where we ended up in Doctor Who world. So go for it. Sorry about it.
Well, I can change the subject really quickly. Cindy Kemp wants to know, anyone remember the 1970-ish Tomorrow People? Yes, I do.
Vaguely. God, it wasn't on my geeking, but I remember it.
Yeah, the only episode I remember is the one with Peter Davison, an extremely young Peter Davison. So.
In aluminum foil, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it looked like a hand-me-down from the 60s Lost in Space. Bill Sargent says, Comet TV recently showed both Peter Cushing Doctor Who movies back-to-back a few months ago, and I believe Pluto TV, which is a free download, now has a classic Doctor Who network. So, and Bill Sargent says, whatever you do.
Don't mention the war.
Yes. And Charles F. Millhouse, you picked. Now, here's a Whovian. We ought to have Charles on here sometime to talk about Doctor Who.
I want to go back to Bill's comment. Wasn't that the episode that they were they had to put they were going to ban, or I forgot what service it was. I think it was BritBox. They were either going to put a disclaimer or a ban on that particular episode, the war episode.
They took it off of Netflix for a while.
They took it off of Netflix for a while. I was like, come on.
Yeah. And Cindy Kemp says, The Empty Child.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cindy,
and
are you my mommy?
Yes.
Who's your daddy?
That's a lot safer to ask if you're my mummy now. But anyway, then who's your daddy? Every time we see somebody wearing a gas mask, Cookie and I just look at each other and go, are you my mummy? So anyway, watch the episode, you'll find out. Tony Curran played Vincent in Vincent and the Doctor. Thank you, Bill Sargent. And when did this become a Doctor Who show? # blame Christian.
Blame Christian.
Okay, I could do that.
There.
No,
and who doesn't? Now, I love Frobisher because I'm a longtime fan of the Doctor Who magazine.
Yeah, that's where I saw him.
Yeah. In fact, I think I only need like 20 issues, and I've got a complete set. That's how long I've been going.
Frobisher got 2 episodes, I think, in Big Finish, and one of them I just can't stand. It's because Colin Baker is talking in a New York accent, and it hurts to listen to it. I'm sorry, Colin, I couldn't get through it.
There we go. And Carleen says, thank you, Meredith. I'm the same way with movies and books. I'm that way with books, a lot of books, I have to say. Charles F. Millhouse says, William Hartnell, The War Machines. Agreed.
Yeah.
Patrick Troughton, The Tomb of the Cybermen.
Yeah.
John Pertwee, Inferno. That was the one where he went to the parallel Earth. Remember the Brigadier had a eye patch?
We had mirror universe units.
Yeah.
Even Brigadier. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
Tom Baker, The Talents of Wang Cheyenne. Peter Davison, Earthshock. That was a good one. I would say The Caves of Androzani would be mine. Colin Baker, Attack of the Cybermen. Sylvester McCoy, Remembrance of the Daleks are my favorite Doctor Who stories. I would agree. That's a good list there, Charles. Thank you very much. And stormgatepress.com for the work of Charles F. Millhouse. And Bill Sargent says, bring me Ride to
Meredith.
We'll recall. Yeah, there we go. I'd settle for even
Bill, we don't count
quarters, recall.
It's okay.
So, here we go. Charles F. Millhouse. And who remembers Blake 7? Love that show created by Terry Nation. I agree. That has the best series end of any show I've ever seen.
And what they should, I haven't heard the big finish, but supposedly the story continues after. I'm like, did you really just go after this?
Yes. Oh my God.
I'm hoping. Well, I'll listen to it, but I'm hoping.
Yeah, we'll just ignore it. It's not canon. Yeah, that's it. And Charles F. Millhouse says, as for Paul McGann, the audio story, The Chimes at Midnight. I've not heard that one.
I haven't heard that one either. I like Minuet in Hell. No, I'm sorry. Minuet in Hell.
Yeah,
is the doctor is in a insane asylum, and there is a patient who's convinced that he is the doctor and not the doctor. He convinces, and he starts talking to him. Yeah, I know about Susan and everything. He's convincing the doctor that he's not the doctor. That is so cool, and the Brigadier's in it, so that's all it needs to do.
Oh, that's it makes it even better. Ted Davies Artistry. Oh, Meredith, I didn't see you there. Just kidding. Uh-oh. You're getting the stink eye from Meredith. Look out for you, man. Nice knowing you, Ted. We'll find what's left of you in the morning.
You have the nostrils.
He's gonna get
That's right. Uh-oh.
Big stomp.
Put your Pez dispenser away.
Yeah, right. And a big finish.
Sarah, we'll talk about that later.
Oh, don't we all love a happy ending? Anyway, Cindy Cap says the actor who voiced K9 used to work crossword puzzles with Tom Baker during breaks, speaking through K9. Yeah, that's right. I've seen some of those. Pictures. And Space 1999 was fun. I agree. I love that show. That was good. And a lot of episodes were written by some of the people that wrote Doctor Who episodes. Mm-hmm. Harley Slavic, hope everyone is well. What is the topic tonight? You tell me and we'll both know. Link to new collectibles at harleyslavic.com. Check out that link for Harley Slavic.
It's not what the topic was tonight, what it should have been tonight.
Yeah, I had a topic and we just went, but that's fine because I think this has been a highly entertaining show. Mm-hmm. So... and Ted Davies mocks us all with his laughter. What's enough out of you, Ted? Anyway, no, it just shows you that we all have our little geekdoms here.
Oh yes.
And
Meredith had a question earlier.
Yes.
Meredith was asking who your favorite James Bond was.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And we got off on other topics and.
If Peter Cushing could be my favorite Doctor, then Barry Nelson is my favorite 007. No, now, for those of you who don't know, there was a pilot, an episode of an anthology series in the 50s with actor Barry Nelson playing American CIA agent Jimmy Bond.
That one, yes. Oh, I saw one of those.
It was a version of Casino Royale, not a great version of Casino Royale, but it was still better than the one with David Niven. So,
oh well, yeah, but that's not much of a standard.
The movie they made up as they went. It looked like so, and Sarah has no idea what we are talking about. Neither do we half the time, but that's fine. And Ted Davies, so anyway, Carl, who is your favorite 007?
He's not going to be the most popular for everybody, but I really like George Lazenby. on Her Majesty's Secret
Got a
Service.
bit of a fan base going there, and then
Yeah,
I agree.
that scene where he's got Diana Rigg, she's been shot, and he's cradling her in his arms and in total denial. And I was like, okay, the rest of the movie doesn't matter. That scene right there, he's
Yeah. I mean, Sean Connery is the yardstick by which all bonds are measured. I agree. But
sure.
Lazenby held up his end, and he got me with that thing with the usual opening action sequence. And then he turns to the camera and says, "This wouldn't have happened to the other guy."
Yeah.
That was so meta. I loved it. So
Yeah.
that was very cool. Christian, who's yours? And then we'll get an answer out of
really hard because I grew up with Roger Moore. He was my Bond, but the thing is, he's not my favorite Bond.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you an unpopular one, and before anybody asks, I don't know why, because I was going for Pierce Brosnan because I was a big Remington Steele fan.
Yes.
I loved him on that, and it's like, why didn't you? And the opportunity didn't come up. Timothy Dalton, because I don't know why I started liking him. If you asked me like 10, 20 years ago, it would have probably been Sean Connery, and then would flip between Sean Connery and Roger Moore. And then about 5 years ago, it would have been Pierce Brosnan. But now I don't know why I think Timothy Dalton was a better one, because he only had a couple episodes, and I was just ones. I really can't tell you why. I think it's because I've begun to like Timothy Dalton. First of all, he was Rassilon in Doctor Who, go figure. And looking back at Timothy Dalton, he wasn't my favorite at first, and then he started growing on me. I'm not exactly sure why. I think I liked Roger Moore, but I think his style, the way that they treated Bond, was kind of like spoofy-ish. I mean, Moonraker and View to a Kill and all those were kind of goofy. It wasn't as serious as when Sean Connery is. I'm not downing Sean Connery because we interviewed Jason Connery. Well, I got to give the laurels to Jason because he was in Spy Maker, which was the life of Ian Fleming. Mm-hmm. And actually, I saw it. It's actually on YouTube, and I watched it before I had the interview with him, and I just loved it. I'm like, why don't you want to be? I did want to talk to him about father stuff on the show. So I said, so why don't you want to be? And he goes, I don't want to be I want to be me. Yeah. I don't want dad following me. Then I found it's not like the kid having his own, getting his father's business. It's basically, I'm Jason Connery and this is what I do. And I said, yeah, I totally get it. Mm-hmm. Besides, you were naked on Doctor Who, so I don't think I think all the women love you anyway for that moment. Being tortured.
And talk about influence, Christian. After you had that interview, I had wanted to see Spy Maker for a while, but I watched it right after your interview with him, and it was great.
It is great. It's a phenomenal movie, and it had some great cast. David Warner, one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yeah. Who's also on Doctor Who.
Was also on Doctor Who, and is a doctor in Big Finish.
That's right. Very good. Very good.
With that, we can't even leave the damn thing. We can't even go to James Bond without coming right back.
He can't help himself, folks. He's got a problem.
There we go.
He was vaccinated with a phonograph needle early in life, this Christian. So
that's why he's going to be at 38,000 next month.
There we go.
Joe. It's not a traveling TARDIS. This is clever title pending. I got it. Sorry.
There we go. Anyway, Meredith, on this episode of the Traveling TARDIS, who is your favorite James Bond?
Well, why? Thank you for asking. I actually grew up with Roger Moore, so he is. I consider him my James Bond, but I think it's really interesting what Christian said about Timothy Dalton. And honestly, it's been a long minute since I've watched any of them. I think I would love to do kind of a marathon and just go through all of them and just see, because being that I'm older now with a new perspective or an older aged, mature, seasoned perspective, I think my favorite would probably change, but I would love to do a movie night.
That does sound like fun. I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to say,
in a comment that says, was it clever title? No, clever TARDIS pending. So that's the
there we go. Gotta get going. And it's just we're just getting warmed up, Bill. We're just getting warmed up, buddy.
I'm waiting for Christian to do to do what were we going to call it? Sonic Squares again?
Sonic Squares.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah, I like
that. Would be fun.
Well, let's see. I'll give you my answer after we get through a few of our friends here. Ted Davies says Sean Connery. Cindy Cap says Pierce Brosnan. I think overall Pierce Brosnan got great scripts, great direction, and I think overall he was a fantastic Bond. And Cindy also acknowledges that George Lazenby was also very good. I agree with that. And Sean Connery from Charles F. Milhouse. And let's see.
Bum cover for 500 Trebek.
Yeah, exactly. And Harley Slavic says George was good. Wish he did more than one. Roger is my big favorite, though. And Cindy Kep says, let's shot right past everybody. There we go. I hate it when I get that dump from YouTube. But anyway, George was good. There we go, almost there. Roger Moore had some of the best one-liners. I agree. Now I love the early Connery.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
He started to get silly towards the end, like with the the Jill St. John one. I really the one with George Lazenby on Her Majesty's Secret Service was the first movie my parents let me watch of the James Bond series. They wouldn't let me read the books or anything or Mickey Spillane because they thought it'd corrupt me. So far behind the curve. But anyway, but no, I have to agree with you, Christian. Timothy Dalton is very underrated. The reason I like him is that I don't think he was well served by the second script, but he really brought out the ruthlessness.
He brought the passion of the Bond.
Yeah.
Whereas he's
more like the books
at all. But he actually, I think he took it to another level, which brought it to being darker, which brought it to being more, just more abrasive and more hardcore. I'm not downing the other Bonds by any means of the imagination, but he just had something going on with Bond, and he made it his own. Yeah, and I think they did him injustice with what was it, the writer's strike or whatever that made it stop. I think he could have gone on; it would have been beautiful. But yeah, Roger Moore had some of the one-liners. But I'm like, when I say that the stories are going to come on, there was a movie called Octopussy. how much blatant can you say? This is getting weird now. So
yeah, but I agree with Timothy Dalton because he was just gritty and he was just, I think, so different from what we had seen. Mm-hmm. That I don't think it was easily accepted.
Yeah.
And I think there might have been blowback from that as well.
It's a possibility.
That was my thing with Daniel Craig movies. The first one was like, there's this fight, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is too real almost.
Yeah. It's almost like torture porn, that thing in the chair. Although that's from the book. That's from the book. Yeah.
I know, but it was just like, no, thank you.
But like a movie like License to Kill, that was personal. That was real. George Lazenby, lost the wife, and then it was, I think it was reaffirmed in For Your Eyes Only, Mm-hmm. But Timothy there was when he lost his friends, when 007 loses his friends, that couple, he made it into a personal. So it was in vendetta. So I don't know if Timothy had the for a better term, the privilege or the license to kill, to take it to the next level, because Bond made it personal on his side. And I think that's where, it wasn't just another spy movie. This was something that Bond was really going after. It's not like I'm going after a bad guy. I'm going after a bad guy. I'm going to make it hurt. And my license to kill has been revoked, but who gives a, all bets are off. So my opinion, nobody else's.
Okay. Nobody else can have it. You heard him. Joe Doug McNeil says, okay, I'm here. My heart is beating again. What did I miss? Okay, let's give a recap of the last hour and 50 minutes.
Wow.
It's Christian's show now. But anyway.
Let your rocket go up, dude. You're lost.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Here's a summary of the show. so far. Couldn't resist, didn't even try. Harley Slavic says Pierce and Craig were the ones I grew up with, born in '96, so I'm right on that transition period. My problem, I think Roger Moore did an amazing job. I really enjoyed him, but I had seen him previously from The Saint TV show, and there's that scene in The Spy Who Loves Me where Solitaire is like doing the tarot card thing, and she asks him, who are you? And he goes, Bond, James Bond. And I've always been waiting for her to look up and say, no, you're the infamous Simon Templar. And then, the halo would appear over his head and you hear the do-do-do-do-do. So, and let's see, here we go. Sarah says, Joe Dog, you missed a ton of Doctor Who talk, which was beyond anything I know about. Well, now you know more about Doctor Who. Yeah. You're welcome. This has been a public service announcement on behalf of Rising Tide Publication. Yeah, there we go. Harley Slavic Christopher was a cousin of the James Bond novelist. Yeah, there we go. And Christopher Lee. Oh, Christopher Lee can do no wrong. And Joe Dog says, I was watching Real Science and not the movie. Hey, I love Real Science. In fact, or I'm thinking Real Genius, actually. But in fact, Real Genius, here's trivia. You want trivia? There was also a movie named My Chauffeur with Deborah Foreman and Penn and Teller and Sam Jones from Flash Gordon. There is a line that is in that and Real Genius with Val Kilmer. And Deborah Foreman is the actress who was on both sides of that line. In Real Genius, she is having the line said to her, and then in Real Genius and in My Chauffeur, she is saying the line, and the line is, "Hey there, babe. It is babe, right?" Anyway, we all can't be Christian. Anyway, it always comes back to Doctor Who. Says Charles F. Milhouse.
There's your Kevin Bacon right there, pal.
That's right. Hey, I'm only like three steps away from Kevin Bacon because my sister-in-law was in a Kevin Bacon movie as an extra. So I'm real close. Okay. And we're like that. Sarah doesn't know how to turn into a Doctor Who clever title pending, and she blames you, Christian, for some reason. I don't know why.
It's not my baby.
And I just let him babysit.
It's not Asian enough.
That's right. There we go. And address your hate mail to Christian at
Clever TARDIS pending. There you go.
Clever TARDIS pending. Yes, ask for it by name. Joe Dog McKeel says my favorite Bond was Brosnan. Oh, good choice there. And also, speaking of Joe Dog, there, don't forget the great show he's got. He's also got a page called This Thing on the Book of Faces called Stupid O'Clock, Thursday nights at 9 p.m. and Saturday nights starting at 11 p.m. So watch that show. It's a really, really fun time. And Molly Daniels says, yay, you're still on. Just got home from work. Oh, and whatever time you tuned in, Molly, is probably the wrong time. Anyway, I'm not a fan of Daniel Craig, says Cindy kept. As Bond, he lacked the suave, debonair kind of thing. Yeah, he's I think he got it a little, in later movies, but at first he was not at all swavy and debonair, as we like to say. And Molly Daniels says Roger Moore was my first Bond spy who loved me. Moonraker, For Your Eyes Only, etc. And everyone, and Christian, brace yourself, young man. Well, hello.
Michaela, just put this in your right pocket. Promise you.
Oh, fresh. I like it.
Yeah, movies where it didn't happen. And Joe Dog McKeel says, and they stuck the landing, Christian. And author goes, that voice. Well, thank you. That's really nice of you. I didn't know you liked mine so much. But anyway. And Ted says the intros to the movies when I was a kid on the 007 movies were awkward for a young boy. Just saying. That pushed me out of being a young boy after a while. So, but I've said for years that Bond movies pretty much start out with a level of action that almost every other film action film builds up to. I live for those opening sequences. And Michaela just say it, and I slowly slide my phone into my front pocket.
Okay, I'm gonna go off camera and pour this on me.
What was that music again? Bow chicka bow wow.
Boom chicka wow wow.
Wait a minute. This is for Kayla. Kayla, what are you wearing, and why are you wearing it? So let's go.
Ooh.
Oh,
My nippies got hurt. Did you hear that? Back in the other room going, what?
and he's
There
gonna
to smile when you've had enough.
Yeah, and Pat's gonna run in here going, "It's Brian again, isn't it?" He's like, when this happens.
Goddamn Brian, it's got to be the Fez.
That's right.
There's another hashtag for you.
I've ruined
We
her.
graduated from Buttbeard, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, no joke. Harley Slavic, VHS is my favorite movie format. Don't hate me. I'm still waiting on the Betamax to come in. And Carleen says, OMG, am I the only one that's so old that Sean Connery was my first Bond? No.
Well,
Why?
Sean Connery was technically my first Bond, but I wasn't old enough to really enjoy or understand the movies.
Yeah.
So
There's a bit of trivia I read somewhere that Ian Fleming said that he did not approve of Sean Connery being James Bond.
That is correct.
He was too attractive and sexy. He would be killed within the first 5 minutes of entering that casino or whatever. And it's amazing that they picked these really suave, debonair, sexy, attractive guys when that was not the intention at all. Bond was supposed to be a plain, kind of nondescript guy. And that's never really happened with any of the actors.
Yeah, that's true. And also, everyone knows who Bond is, it seems. He's like he's as much a secret agent as Carl's secret humor agent is secret too.
yeah.
Well, there's 202 people who keep secret.
I know.
Yeah. And at least one of them keeps blabbing about him. And Joe Dog says, and that was where I would play the "Good Night, Everybody" clip. Yeah, I should get one of those. I need one.
You've got the dumpster fire one. Maybe we need that one.
Let's see. I don't know if I got it in here. I've got to load it in here. Is the thing. I don't have it in the clever title pending.
Too late. The dumpster's already down the river.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And cat fisting matters hashtag says Sarah. Yeah, and hashtag blame Brian. I ain't the one that found that thing. Okay.
Meredith almost wore her coffee.
Yeah.
I really hope that was a typo.
Cat fisting. I've been practicing. Words, the pronunciation. I better say that real quick.
Yeah, that came out of our green room on Friday night. Meredith.
Oh my goodness, I missed it.
Yeah, you got to be there for the green room.
I wish you guys would be on StreamYard. Come on, get on StreamYard.
Sarah's hashtag catfish fisting matters, and Meredith almost brought her drinking problem back.
Yeah, she keeps missing her mouth. And Harley Slavic, this is rated NC-17 hashtag no longer a PG-13 show. Well, probably not.
Yeah,
my fault.
And
so go back to catfisting.
That's right. Once you go to catfisting,
you never go back.
You never go back.
Were we talking about the fishing show? We must have been talking about the fishing show and talking about the people that grabbed the catfish and dragged it up. Yeah. And sticking their fist in a catfish somehow.
Girl, the hashtag's out, dude. Don't explain it anymore. It's over. The train's already gone left. The dumpster's already going down the road.
It's the dark smoke coming out of it now. And Michaela J says, it just gets better and better. And then I tell people, don't do a Google search for dino porn. It will not make
you know what, Jess? I'm gonna do this live on the radio. I'm doing it right now.
I'm telling you, For the creative people out there, you're probably on already on a soft watch list. I'd be offended if I wasn't for my Google searches.
Oh my God, yeah, I had to do a search for somebody the other day, and it was something of a very sensitive nature, and I'm like, oh my God, no wonder my NSA agent drinks. But yeah, I went and looked it up. Yeah. Oh, you found it, Christian.
Found it.
Yeah.
Ravaged by the raptor. Nice.
Hey.
Yeah.
Girl, that sounds like a new cartoon.
Something about Jurassic World. I'm not. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, and now do one for cat fisting.
Carl, why are you in the picture?
Because
you're here.
I did that last week while Carl was talking about that, and first thing I saw was some guy with some damn big catfish with his up to the elbow through the mouth, and I'm like, yeah. And Jen,
that's not how you gut a fish.
That's true. That's true.
I put a hashtag in front of it, and then I have 2 T-Rexes, one saying "pull my hair." So I was just like,
"Hi."
Moving on, Jen Thompson picked the wrong time to be here, and she goes, "Whoa, I missed something." Yes, you did. Jen Thompson, in fact, well, until she saw that, was going to be a guest on our show on August 18th.
Not anymore.
I promise we won't talk about this, Jen. I promise. Jen is a wonderful author, editor, and a show promoter. So we're looking forward to having her in a couple weeks on this show. And Michaela Jade says, I missed the green room too. I was stuck out in the boonies having a grand time with other author buddies.
Nice.
Yeah.
See,
the traveling Michaela.
Show up on time for these shows, people. You don't show up late because you might miss something.
Yeah, and you may have picked the totally worst time to join it. But anyway, catfish noodling is the term, says Harley Slavic. How do you know? Anyway, Harley Slavic, RIP after the viewing. Been nice to knowing you. Anyway, yeah, it's been a pleasure. My NSA agent's going to be here real soon. I hear the knock on the door already. Sarah, go for it, Christian. Your reaction is great.
Yeah, that was.
I
didn't even see my reaction, so I'll take your word for it.
Carl will send you a video of it later. And Carleen says, "Don't make promises we can't keep." Well, that's one we. Unfortunately, we make these promises and we are keeping them, especially when we tell people don't look up certain things. So anyway, Sarah says, I used to have the pull my hair picture of 2 T-Rexes on my laptop because it was too funny. I need something like that for this show now. I obviously, Meredith, I have fallen down on the job and not filled this room with the stuff that I have
send it to you if you like.
I just bet you could. Anyway,
iHeartRadio might ban us, and they're an audio thing.
Yeah, they're probably going, what in the hell is going on that show? It's usually so calm.
There was a gal that had a pickup, and on the back of the pickup she had this bumper sticker for tailgaters. And so if you're gonna get that close, you have to at least pull my ponytail.
Oh, I love that. Harley, so I think this show is brought to you by YOLO.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, anyway, so...
This is not the normal show, guys, okay? We're just filler.
Yeah, and I'm just filling in I'm just Christian's sidekick on this show. No, but anyway, we have been on for 2 hours.
Wow.
And, yeah, I know. And time has flown for me. I don't know about
YOLO.
you three. Yeah, and I want to thank you all for being here. You guys have been fantastic. And here we go. Finally, and whoever thought that Michaela Jade would be bringing dignity to this show. On a positive note, Book 2 is ready for the cover, so I will get photos taken soon for that. Excellent. Book 3 is in the works. So all in all, not bad for 3 days in the boonies. Well,
Nice.
good for you.
Thank you.
Well done, young lady.
Michaela, I'd let you pull my hair. So
I let you pull mine, yeah.
Somebody's doing some work and not just appearing on every podcast they can get on, right?
Oh. Why would you make fun of Meredith like that?
Good night, everyone. Anyway, okay, today I'm off to go fish some fish. It's brave of you to admit that. Have a great night, kids. Well, thank you, Ted, for being here. Appreciate the heck out of you, brother. And don't forget Ted Davies Artistry on YouTube and on .com, and check out his interview that he just did with me, my favorite author. So anyway, I think we'll ignore the comments for a bit because they're probably just shaking their head and wondering what kind of show did we wander into. But I gotta say, it was a great show, and I am incredibly grateful that you three stepped up and came on here at risk to your reputation, such as they may be. And I just want to let you three know I appreciate the hell out of each and every one. Thank you so much. To you both.
Thank you.
And here we go. And here's your reward, Christian. But you didn't.
I didn't mention it was on top of my head, so there you go.
Hashtag buttbeard.
You beat me to it, damn it.
Gotta be fast on this show, Meredith. Gotta be fast. Oh, so I tell you what. Why don't we? I've had a great time. This has been a change of pace, and you three have been wonderful. And Cindy Kemp is inexplicably still here. Don't know why. She's lost her better judgment. Yeah, she's crocheting right now. Yeah,
with that angelic smile.
Yes, and praying for all our souls.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she can.
Well, she can try. Anyway, thanks for playing. Rising Tide is the bomb diggity. CKOEPP.com for the best newsletter in the industry. Mwah. Cindy, thank you for being here. And there we go. Oh, I know that place. That is where you should go and sign up for the YouTube channel that you see there, where you can watch the playlist of recent episodes of Clever Title Pending that do have topics, and the episodes of Nevermind the Furthermore are interactive 3 times a morning talk show. And again, thank you three for being here. And we'll go around the room. We'll start with Karl, and ladies last. Save the best for last. And we will let everyone tell how they can keep in touch, what you do, why you're so awesome, and how they can keep in touch with you. Under 20 minutes, please, Christian. Anyway, so none but love, seriously. So anyway, let's start with Karl Witsman. We'll go counterclockwise as everyone is watching, and tell everybody what you got and how they can follow you. Please start with you, Karl.
Okay, well, if this show was way too tame for you, then you want to ask to be part of the Uncle Karl's Secret Humor Group, where some of this stuff gets started. And to do that, just ask one of the folks around in this room to put you on there. And if one of them vouches for you, you're in.
All right. And here he is, the man, the legend of the traveling TARDIS, Mr. Christian Basel.
I think I need therapy.
You only now realize that?
Between hair pulling, cat fisting, and whatever we've gone on tonight, and a Doctor Who themed show for a Clever Title Pending. Facebook, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We try to put out weekly podcasts when I feel like it. Join the group of 36,000 people. Please subscribe to our channel. You can also catch us on the YouTube channel. Just type in HWWS Web TV Media, because there's a plethora of people who are working at the Hanging With Web Show media group, including myself, for the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. That's it. I think I've talked enough.
Oh,
I think I've talked enough.
No,
Meredith.
Hey. All right, I'm Meredith Loughran. And look, I spelled my name out today. So if you go to meredithloughran.com, you're going to find all of my social media. You can follow me there. I am also the editor-in-chief and podcast producer of Wild One Forever, as well as Geek Insider. Geek Speak, we've had a few exciting interviews, and we've got more lined up this coming week, so I hope that you guys tune in. Subscribe to Geek Insider on our YouTube channel and on Facebook if you don't mind. And Wild One Forever, again, that is a women-centric site. We are promoting that as well. We're trying to build up our following. It is a women-centric site, but I encourage the guys to show up to get insight into the women's psyche. You might be surprised by what you read there. And that's about it. I am going to make business cards that say et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because, as well as Terraform Comics, I want to give them a shout out as well. We have our first newsletter. If you missed it, I will post the link on my Facebook channel. And thanks, Brian. I had a lot of fun today.
Well, thank you, Meredith. I've had a lot of fun with all three of you. Again, thank you to Meredith Loughran and Christian Basel and Karl Witsman. Yes, I wrote it down just in case I had a senior moment like this one. And Rick Bradley and Eric Hawkins. Sorry we missed you, buddy. We'll have you on a future show. And hope you three can hang around for a moment so I can express my gratitude properly. Don't get excited, Christian. But anyway, next week on Clever Title Pending, we're going to be talking to some comic book creators about crowdfunding. So we hope you'll join us for that one. And we've got some great guests coming up, like Jen Thompson, who was here earlier, and USA Today best-selling author Jason Nugent, as well as amazing cover artist and illustrator Clayton Merwin will be on later in September. So we're starting to pack the show with some other people that are really fantastic. We hope you'll join us next time around. And so, as always, thank you to Geek Insider and the Indie Vent for allowing us to put the show on their airwaves. To everyone on iHeartRadio, hope you enjoy the show. And to everyone watching on the reruns, hope you enjoy the show too. Don't forget, you can go to YouTube, check out our channel there, where we have recent episodes of not only this show, Clever Title Pending, but also Nevermind the Furthermore, which we'll have again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central, the interactive talk show where you are the star. Also, don't forget risingtide.pub, where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. The recent one just went out on the 1st. And if you're into marble racing, this is the one for you. Also, Rising Tide Publications on Facebook, where we post new material 3 or 4 times every day, every calendar day, you betcha. Anyway, again, very huge thank you to my guests here, and thank you to everyone watching the show. And as always, don't forget to stay smart, stay safe, wash your damn hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Thank you all for being here on Clever Title Pending.
Thank you for tuning in to Clever Title Pending, a Rising Tide Publications and Brian K. Morris production. A member of Comic Book Advocating Network and sponsored by GeekInsider.com. Become part of our show with sponsorship and advertising opportunities. For details, contact advertising@geekinsider.com or visit podcast.geekinsider.com. The Geek Insider podcast is available on your favorite app, so please hit the follow button and share it out to your friends. Because if you don't, you might have to turn in your geek card.
Are we done?
No, we're not done. Oh. Hold on here. Dignity. We have one more comment here.
That's not my dignity.
You have none left.
I don't. Cat fisting.